As Bitcoin right now tests resistance on the hourly charts, January setting up to be one of the most critical months for Bitcoin on the macro charts. A story being told, all of us watching, what is next for Bitcoin. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Crypto Capital Venture. Hit that subscribe and like on the way in. I really do appreciate it. Let's jump into the Bitcoin video. This is the hourly chart. There's so much happening, so many lines. I'm gonna break it down for you very simply. If you want to just see this part of the video, hit the timestamps. It's below. But I do want to start off by just explaining to you January. Why is this month so important? And this is the monthly chart for Bitcoin. Now, there's a lot of talk, right? Everybody's comparing, Bitcoin entering the last bull market to what's happening now, Bitcoin at the top of the last bull market to what's happening now, Bitcoin in 2013. I hear there's people talking about that to what's happening now. And what I want to just talk about is a couple things. Number one, we've talked a lot about this move, and this was in the spring and summer of 2019. January, this monthly candle Bitcoin's putting in is going to, based on historical data, be very telling into the strength of Bitcoin right now. And really the theory of Bitcoin just being bought up, the supply shock is real, and are we going to get this kind of continuation that just defies really historical data? And Bitcoin really is, in essence, right around here on this chart. We had a very similar move, believe it or not, in 2019 to what just occurred. This isn't out of the ordinary. It's very bullish, but it's not out of the ordinary. Out of the ordinary will be if Bitcoin continues to the upside and Bitcoin just gets ultimate separation on this January monthly candle. And that's what is going to be very telling. I will be watching Bitcoin so closely in terms of the bullish momentum and these higher highs and higher lows that Bitcoin's just continuously putting in on the zoomed in hourly chart. Going to the daily chart, this is what it looks like. The move is so similar. And if you just take a price range from 2019 beginning of this move to that swing high, 249%, and the beginning of this move currently to this swing high, 226%. Everybody, we've been here before. This isn't like a whole new, just crazy, thing that's happening in Bitcoin. It's happened before, and it actually happened coming out of the bear market, right? So don't get overly hyped. I'm very bullish on Bitcoin, trust me, but what we have to do is wait for some ultimate indicators, and it's already starting. This is a daily chart. Bitcoin's about to put a daily close above that trend line, but what's the monthly candle going to look like at the end of the day in terms of this move? And then the other thing is this: if you take our Fibonacci retracement, the bull market doors, from basically the 2017 high to the bear market low, and we plot that, and then we take the same for the last cycle and we plot the bull market doors, then there is a lot of similarities also on these charts. And that would be the separation essentially from Bitcoin just taking off from the 786 of the bull market doors, for 3 months, right? There's 3 month candles, we can call it. And then what's just transpired from Bitcoin getting separation in these past 3 months. And currently we're in a month. And you can just see 145% gains to 193% gains. We could also chart it and we can say, well, actually, let's chart just the last 2 months, Bitcoin getting separation from that 786. We're at 100% gains. And then let's take this and move this down. That's 40% gain. So depending on how you're charting that, Bitcoin is I think on average and on pace of what it did exiting or breaking through the last time the bull market doors. That's one thing. So, but I'm telling you, everybody, January is going to be defining month in terms of, is Bitcoin truly just doing something insane? And that's what I'm watching on these charts. I get that Bitcoin is just performing very well, but you have to keep in mind we're up 26%, and we had similar moves in the past. So I think I'm just trying to reel things back in, not trying to get overly hype and overly just like it's never going to come down, it's never going to consolidate, it's just going to keep going forever. I don't like being like that. And that's just me mentally. I'm so bullish and this is so exciting, but I always try and just like bring myself back to earth and just chill out for a second while I'm looking at the charts. And this is the data, it's on the screen. I mean, just look at the similarities here. Now, what I will say, I'll get like, if this keeps happening, we keep putting these just daily green candles above this trend line and Bitcoin just like getting separation, I'm just going to be like, I'm not going to be overly hyped, but you're going to get just kind of probably a different tone, like just wow, you know? But right now I really want to see how this monthly candle for Bitcoin closes on the monthly chart. What volatility is in store for us over the next 4 weeks or so? So going now into the hourly chart, I really want to dig into these charts. This is what's going on right now. Let's zoom in and let's discuss. So, and by the way, for context, this trend line that you see right here, this blue one on the hourly chart, that's the trend line on this daily chart going all the way back to October 2020 that we were just discussing. So keep that in mind. This trend line right here, Bitcoin, it broke above that. And this is this first sign of just this crazy bullishness that I'm talking about. We're waiting for confirmation of, and Bitcoin, you can see, tested it once, just above it once again, and Bitcoin just hanging out, still above that trend line. Now, besides that, we have this ascending broadening wedge that Bitcoin recently also broke through the upper trend line of, right? Actually, that would be right here. Broke through the upper trend line there, and Bitcoin continually just putting in these higher highs and higher lows. The charting of Bitcoin right now is just tons of rising channels and rising wedges. It's absolutely awesome to track. Now, what's happening here on the short term? I mentioned resistance, and this is what it looks like. This area that Bitcoin's testing right now, just confluent with a $34,000 area that Bitcoin did break, but it's basically our previous swing high to our swing low that Bitcoin just put in, and we're looking at our Fibonacci short-term resistance area. If you want to see, if you're wondering, is this going to keep going? And really, this is the first step of Bitcoin putting in this crazy monthly candle that I'm talking about that I want to see happen. But this is the first step. It starts here on the hourly chart, and zooming in, you can just see that's where Bitcoin is testing right now. And it's just a very small range. I mean, we're talking this range is like 1%, a little over 1%. Just, it could be such a quick move for Bitcoin. Bitcoin would be breaking back above $34,000. That's one thing we're tracking. But kind of in the middle of all this, what Bitcoin is doing, believe it or not, on this hourly chart is putting in structure via higher highs and higher lows. So let's leave that Fibonacci resistance there. And you can just see Bitcoin, you know, lower trend line, upper trend line for 4 hours or so, upper trend line, lower trend line. Question is, where's our next touch in terms of trend lines? If we zoom out a little bit, this was like, just feels like I was just talking about this. Bitcoin was in the ascending broadening wedge, and we were getting similar touches to trend lines, and we were saying Bitcoin needs to make a run to this upper trend line and get that touch. It did, and it broke out of it. Now we're in a new rising channel that I'm tracking for Bitcoin, and the question is Bitcoin going to see resistance here, touch the bottom trend line again around $33,000, and then continue through resistance? That's the question. That's what I'm tracking on the hourly chart. If Bitcoin sees resistance here, we have a potential head and shoulders in play, right? And you can just see that on the chart. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Breakout target is kind of right around 29,000, you know, in the higher 29,000 area. And it's very confluent with the breakout target to the downside of this rising channel, which would be right around $30,000. Notice, this is also the lower trend line of the ascending broadening wedge. It would just be such a simple move consolidation pattern for Bitcoin. Zooming out on this hourly chart, I've plotted all of these $1,000 moves, and Bitcoin has done this. It's kind of done these sideways consolidation type of moves before continuation to the upside. So a move like that to the downside is just 100% in play. Just be prepared for it. A $30,000 Bitcoin, that's a $3,000 to $4,000 move for Bitcoin to the downside. We see this happen. This can happen in an hour. It just happened the other day. Huge dip, right? So be prepared for that to the downside. That's all I'm saying. And to the upside, everybody, if Bitcoin just kind of breaks resistance, and this is actually what happened last time in this ascending broadening wedge. Just look back here. This was a potential, you know, head and shoulders setup, but we had a swing high to that bottom swing low, and Bitcoin broke through that area, that Fibonacci resistance. We're looking for a similar move right now. Bitcoin breaks through that, and then whether it trades sideways or just explodes through, we're looking for continuation to the upside. That's what we're looking for now. Can Bitcoin break the short-term resistance here on the hourly chart? We're looking at And you can just see it's charted right there, that Fibonacci resistance. And really, it's around 33,800 to 34,300 or so. Can Bitcoin break that resistance? If that happens in the short term, we very well might see bullish continuation, and bullish continuation for Bitcoin would be to that upper trend line, $36,000. Keep in mind, if Bitcoin just makes another ridiculous move, as it's been doing over and over again on this hourly chart, there is a breakout target. $40,000 could be next in play over the course of the next, couple days, few days going into this week. $40,000 very much in play for Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin hits this area, then we're going back to the macro chart and we're saying, wow, look at this monthly candle now, $40,000. Boom. If Bitcoin's up here and the monthly candle is up here, we're going to continue to track this, because at that point, Bitcoin will very much be separating itself from that type of move. It will very much be separating itself from Bitcoin entering the last bull market back here, and potentially start looking familiar to this 2013 move. But I just don't think Bitcoin's there yet in terms of that crazy type of move. I mean, look at these 3 months or 4 months for Bitcoin, 700% up to 1700%. I don't think we're in that much of a parabolic move right now. It's more similar to some things that have been commonplace for Bitcoin most recently, 2019. But Bitcoin's kind of doing something crazy most recently on the hourly chart. Let's see if it continues. Wanted to do an update video on what I'm watching on the hourly chart today. It's been so tough keeping up with Bitcoin. I did 3 videos yesterday. I just want to keep up to date. When I have some time, I just kind of want to do a quick video for you all. I'm tracking this anyway, and this is what I'm watching. So let's see what Bitcoin does in the coming hours. Can we break this resistance? And most importantly, does support hold down here at the lower trend line? This lower trend line right now around 33,100 to 33,000 or 32,800. Can we hold that resistance for Bitcoin? And what happens in this short term? Really, the next 12 hours are important as Bitcoin gets squeezed into really this entire area of support and resistance. Let's see the next move for Bitcoin. Targets are there. Be prepared. A lot of people messaging me, should I buy Bitcoin? This is the data. Do what you're comfortable with, everybody. Don't listen to Twitter people or YouTube people in terms of when or what you should buy. But analyze the data. Everybody's offering different data points, and make your decisions utilizing your own comfort level. So appreciate all of you. Hit that subscribe, hit that like. I'll do an update if Bitcoin makes some type of crazy move, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless.